Alright, so I'm going live real quick because I got a good tip that one, it could help boost my channel, so here we go. I'm gonna try it out. We'll see how it goes. If it goes well, I'm gonna keep doing these things. But so you're gonna hear everything. I have some Beats by Dre in. They are awesome at capturing all of the audio in this apartment, so I'm sorry for anything you might hear. But let's get going. So a major problem coming out of just 2021 right now from what I'm seeing is, and this is just one smaller issue, the left is criticizing Caitlyn Jenner for her stance on, how do I put it? For her stance on male to female athletes in sports. It's one of very few stances Caitlyn Jenner has that I disagree with, or that I agree with entirely, I mean. And I disagree with everything else Caitlyn Jenner has to say on an average basis. But on this one, I'm going to say the problem comes from them stereotyping Caitlyn Jenner to be any trans person who just agrees with them. The reason they're making that stereotype and the reason they're trying to make her a contradiction is, well, it's harder for her to fight against it because, oh, well, you don't agree with us, so you're against your own people. That's not cool. The solution would be the left actually exuding some tolerance and some self-control over what other people say and feel and think. I mean, honestly, like, just because you stereotype someone to believe what you believe, when they don't believe you, it's okay for them to not believe you. No one has to believe anything you're saying. A huge misrepresentation occurs in Antifa. I know not a lot of liberals and not a lot of Democrats who are actually violent people. You need to speak against that violence if we're ever going to reunify as a country. That's the truth. There's no if and or buts. The truth is, you need to actually start condemning violence. It's the same way I condemn BLM. I'm not a hypocrite telling you to just discondone and disown Antifa. I'm telling you because they are actually committing acts of violence that you would be opposed to if you were a true Democrat or a true liberal. And that's okay if you're not opposed to that, but that does not actually, you fall more into socialism and communism condone violence to get what they want. That's just a genuine truth of both worlds there. But with BLM, I really honestly don't believe any of their message. I discredit them at every chance that they prove themselves discredible. I mean, really, if I could say anything about BLM, it's that I don't condone the violence. Everything else that they want to stand up for, if they feel that that's how it is, sure, stand up for it. You live in America, the greatest country, to stand up for yourself. But I have no reason, absolutely no reason to condone BLM's violence. Like, as a black American, zero. Another huge problem is the leftist media keeps painting cops in this hugely negative way, and I'm glad y'all are coming in. Thank you. Good to see y'all. But the leftist media, they keep painting cops in this hugely negative light, and I'm gonna be honest, I lived in Federal Heights out here. I had some problems with those officers, and there might have been some racism involved. They got very uncomfortable when I talked to them about the prospect of hiring a black officer. Hey, that's on them. I'm not gonna fucking put them out there and put out names and all that. They were a bad police force, and if you're black, since we were very few in that community, just get out of there. We don't need to be there. We got cooler places in Denver we can go to, so get out of there. You don't need that. But a solution to how the leftist media is characterizing these cops and mischaracterizing so many situations that we don't even know what the media is telling the truth about anymore. We need to enforce the free, fair, and honest part of the press. I mean, that is a huge aspect within our own constitution, that we should have access to a free, fair, and honest press. Well, they're violating their own right. They're violating our rights, and they're violating their rights to operate as a press under the laws as they stand, just by intentionally going out of the way to paint people as villains, or even cops, anyone. I mean, they did it to Kyle Rittenhouse. They could do it to anyone. Let's see, another problem, and this one again, it's kind of smaller, but we should bring it up. Facebook blocking Trump still. The best way to fix this is, and they're blocking him over something that they're mischaracterizing on Facebook. Declare Facebook a public resource and make it a federal asset. Honestly, it's the only way forward with Facebook at this point. If you go to Facebook on the Better Business Bureau, you will see that they are a failure as a company and that the government has had to impose sanction after sanction after sanction. At this point, it would be easier for us as the American people in the world if Facebook was treated like a public asset of the US. Other countries would still have access to Facebook. That wouldn't stop their access. All it would mean is that Facebook operates under our laws, our jurisdiction, and our guidelines. There should not be Section 230 protections for companies that are violating the will of the people to speak, but are guiding political discourse and social discourse in a way that favors their agenda. Let's see. So another huge problem, and this one's much bigger. We need to talk about riots and rioters and what that solution looks like. We need new laws and bills holding rioters to full legal and financial accountability, and we need to extend those laws into treason if someone is injured or killed over a riot, like literally on their private property. We need to put those people down as treasonous, as traitors. That's how I feel. Because if you're going to group up on another American on their private property that they have a right to own, you're not being the best American you could be. You're not even really being an American at that point. You're going so far out of your way to violate someone else's right for happiness and peace that you, at that point, we should just declare you a treasonous traitor and kick you out. I don't even care at that point, but we need something done about the riots, honestly, and maybe just new bills and laws regarding it. Doesn't have to go as far out to treason, but I tell you what, BLM would stop burning cities if they were going to be charged as treasonous. Like, it would be end of story right there. That would just solve all of the problem. Another problem, and I think this is the biggest because it makes the other four problems so exaggerated, is the leftist over misrepresentation in the media, in whether that's on social media or we're talking mainstream news. I am sorry, but I absolutely do not stand with BLM. I've made that known. Now, if you're a Democrat and you're on the left and you're not like the people I'm always talking about, that's cool, but make your voice known. As the right, we've been carrying the torch like, hey, put down the violence, stop burning the cities, we're trying to hear you out. But you guys don't condone that violence. You go, well, it's justified violence on the basis of race. It's not. Violence is violence no matter who's committing it. It doesn't matter. Those are my 5 biggest problems I'm seeing right now that we could change, that we could actually impact, that there is a meaningful way that we can get our hands on something to get done around here. But that's just, I want to do a quick live, like I said. I think it might boost my reach a little bit. So other than that, I'm signing off. This has been your boy Drew here. I'm from a YouTube channel called Politically Black. I run it by myself pretty much, exclusively by myself. So y'all, I'm out. Peace out. Had to plug my YouTube. Have a good day, y'all.